It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That is brand new Judas Priest with the March of the Damned. That one going out by request to our good friend the Jackal in the chat room.
That song fucking rocks, man.
You like that one, even though you're critical of the production?
The production is shitty, but I like the song.
Yeah, it is a good one. It is a traditional classic Judas Priest song.
Yeah, I mean, but the drum sound on it is so bad, you know, on that song. I mean, you just hear it's like he's hitting plastic.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the drum sound is shitty, but it's a great song. You know, that's been my bitch with this album the whole time. Is not the songs. I think the songs are okay. There's one or two that stink, but it's the sound. The sound just sound. I mean, you've listened to it several times.
Yeah, I have.
What's your assessment? You've never really given your opinion.
Well, I prefer a little better production. I don't have any problem with the songs or the performance or anything. It's just when we were debuting a little bit of the Judas Priest, we had the guys from American Dog on the show.
Sure.
And we were talking about the fact that this, you know, fairly little known band out of Columbus, Ohio, yeah, when they have better production than a big production band like a Judas Priest for their CD, you got to wonder. It's like, why do you guys who have a little budget can put out a better sounding record than a band that's been around for 40 years? What's the difference? How does this happen?
Well, and the only answer is because they're still engaged. That's the only answer it can be, is that they're still engaged in the process.
But it always amazes me that guys with little budgets, and we're talking, you know, $3,000 to $4,000 as compared to, what do you think the Priest record costs to produce?
It'd be $100,000, don't you think?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Why can they put out a really good quality produced product in a band that has buku bucks and a big label behind them can't do the same thing?
I don't know. I don't get it, because even the production even on Nostradamus was a lot better.
Yeah. And the thing is that these guys, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, they work with people like a Roy Z, and Rob Halford has worked with a guy out of California who's kind of made a name for himself for the last, I don't know, 6-8 years, Mayor Applebaum,
right? Who
produced the last Dokken record.
And Sepultura, and he's done a bunch of records.
Yeah, he's done a bunch of records, but he did Rob Halford's solo stuff.
Yeah, well.
And he kicked ass on that.
Yeah, except for the mower.
Yeah, well, did he do that one?
I don't know if he did or not.
Well, regardless of that, but his production is top notch.
Yeah, he's a quality guy, quality engineer.
And that's what my point is, that they have contact with these type of people who can do this type of work for them, but they don't use it. No. And you got to wonder why.
I almost wonder if they don't hear the final product before it goes. I think I have to think that they just do their parts, and then band business deals with the rest of it. And on this one, Tipton did it.
Well, again, another one that we have very close relationship with, Benedictum.
Yeah,
their last record just slayed. It just was in your face. It was just, I don't know what it is. It's just a punch in your face,
right?
And this Judas Priest, again, the songwriting good, the performance are good, but the production is just lousy.
Yeah, the production is demo quality in places, and I stand by that. I mean, people are, and believe me, I've taken all kinds of heat for saying this, but whatever. It's like I hear what I hear, and again, love Judas Priest, one of my top probably 3-4 bands of all time. But man, this album could have been so much better with better production. If it had the Angel of Retribution production, it would be right next to Painkiller and one of the all-time great Judas Priest records.
I would agree.
But it doesn't.
So you got to wonder why.
Yeah. Who dropped the ball?
Why? So anyway, again, another debate.
Yep.
But you and I, along with our fans, we go, you listen to something and you wonder, and you have to wonder if and when your assessment is that the band doesn't listen or approve to the final product.
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement that you don't think the band?
I can't imagine that they're still engaged. No way. I can't imagine.
So you think that they allow the record label or whoever controls that to go, this is good enough, let's put this out without their stamp of approval?
I think they're checked out long before it even gets to that point.
See, I guess I just don't understand that, because I would have to listen to it and go, I'm not happy with that.
I think Rob Halford flies in for 2 weeks, records his parts, and he's out. And he's back in Arizona.
Well, recording your parts is one thing. But then listening to the final product, you don't think they listen to the final product?
No.
You don't?
Nope.
Wow.
I honestly don't.
See, again, I don't know if they do or they don't. I don't know.
I think they've done it so many times at this point, and they've had success with it that they trust their people. Honestly, I mean, Rob Halford's never really been a hands-on producer guy.
Well, you don't have to be, but you can listen to something and go, you know what? I'm not thrilled with that.
Yeah. Well, again, you know what? When we're supposed to interview Halford in the fall,
okay,
for when the Priest tour starts,
sure,
we're supposed to interview Halford then.
Right.
Let's remember to ask him that. I mean, because I'm certainly going to ask him about the production anyway. Let's remember to definitely ask him, if he hears the record before it goes to print.
Do they need to put their stamp of approval on it, or do they just got to go with whatever the end product is?
I'm just a big believer that it's the machine. In most band cases, I mean, there's some I would imagine listen. Like I know Metallica overanalyzes their whole thing.
Yeah, but see that there's another band right there.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I know you're a huge Metallica fan. I like Metallica. I'm not a huge fan. I'll take Testament over Metallica any day.
Okay,
but another band that for the last 20 years has turned out product. And if it was me in that band and I heard the final edit or whatever it was, I would go, oof, I'm not.
Yeah, but outside of Saint Anger, their products always have sound quality.
You know what? The thing is that there have been lesser bands that sounded better
than Metallica.
Oh yeah,
Metallica always has mint sound, except for Saint Anger, and Death Magnetic was a little choppy. But I mean, all the stuff before that was mint.
But again, why is it even questionable? See, I'm a fan. You're a fan.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not on the inside, on the working inside, but I listen to things and I go, how could you have allowed that to go out to the public?
Well, yeah.
It's because even with our show.
Yeah, sure.
With the podcast or the recording or the broadcast in itself, I'm unhappy with it if it isn't the best it can be.
Oh, I know.
And it's just like, oh my God, that was horrible.
Yep. A lot of stuff we take out. We take down, I mean.
Yeah.
If the audio's bad, we get rid of it. We don't use it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, oh, well, it is what it is. Here you go. Yeah. Enjoy. It's like,
yep. No, I agree. I think Metallica is a bad example, though, because their problem has been that they collectively forgot how to write good songs. And they honestly believe that everything that they've done is great. And that's the crime Metallica has, is that they look at stuff like, Mama Said, and they think, all right, this was really good. This was us expanding our fucking artistic horizon and Lulu and... they look at all that bullshit and they believe their own bullshit. Ugh. They believe they're artists now, not fucking a dumb metal band from San Francisco.
Right.
That's what happened to Metallica.
Sure.
I don't think production. I mean, dude, forget if you like the records or you don't like the records. Black Album, Load, Reload, and the S&M and the live record. I challenge you to find any records from any band of any genre as good sonically, just sonically, as those records. Those things are masterful recordings.
Well, for me personally, because I'm not like a big Metallica fan, the listening for Metallica for me personally ended at the Black Album.
Yeah, but I'm not saying song wise. I'm saying recording quality, only recording quality. Those records, Load, Reload, S&M, Black, just phenomenal audio quality. Just the audio quality that they captured, not the songs that were captured in that quality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even shitty songs. Like, I hate the song. My least favorite Metallica song of all time is 2x4.
Okay.
And when you listen to that, when you pull it up and you play it, just that whole drum part at the beginning of the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da is just so big. It's just such a big, powerful sound. And then the guitars come screaming in with a big, powerful, perfectly mixed, perfect pitched sound. I mean, the song sucks a dick, but the sound quality is great.
Yeah, you know who had a good sound quality?
Who?
Hellstar.
Oh, yeah.
This last record that they put out?
Sure.
We had James on the show.
Yeah, sure.
And they spent like $5,000.
Yeah. And
it's just like, you guys spent $5,000 and you had like this punch in the face album.
And Judas Priest spent $5,000 a song and couldn't get it done.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah.
It's like these little known bands can put out a record that just punch you in the face, and you as a multi-million-dollar band can't get the same result.
Oh, the only thought that comes up though is the little bands have to learn to do it themselves. So they're a little more attached to the product.
Right.
The big bands always have management teams and recording teams, and they have Judas Priest, we know half the team. We know the PR team, we know Jane, we know quite a few of the people in the Priest thing. The record goes through most of those people before it ever gets out.
And how can any of those people go, you know what? That's the greatest thing you guys have ever done.
See, but I always think that's a misconception. I don't believe that bands, when they've been around, after they've been around about 5 albums, I don't believe that they care if it's the best thing they've ever done. I honestly don't believe that. I don't believe our friends, we can name our own personal friends. There's no way in the world you could tell me that Don Dokken listened to Broken Bones and thought that it was better than fucking anything from the 80s.
Well, but at least he listened to it and said, you know what, I'm not happy with that.
Sure, but I'm saying, I think the thought process of the next one should be the best one, I think that dies with all these guys a long time ago.
Perhaps. Hail and Kill, caller, you're on the air.
Hail and Kill. 3 things on this. Do you guys think that what happens is, like in a case of a band like a Priest who's been around for such a long time, do you think it's more like this is the best thing we can do right now? And I mean, they must realise that maybe I actually like the new album, but I agree with Chris about the production. That it's they're just not going to come out with another British Steel or another Screaming for Vengeance. It's not going to happen, because they're at a completely different headspace at that time.
Yeah, I don't know, but you know what I mean, and I don't want to give away next week's interview with Richie Faulkner, but I just will say in general, and just as far as recently talking to Judas Priest and some other interviews that I've done recently, I don't think that the thought process of even, is this the best we can do, is there anymore. I mean, I have a couple standard questions that I tend to ask every band, and one of them in some way, shape, or form that I almost always ask is that question. Is the question about, what is this final product? And I ask it in various ways, but they almost always have some answer about, well, we were just writing because we were writing to sound like Judas Priest, or we were writing to just do what we do. None of them ever come out and say we were trying to write the best album of our career. They never say that. So I don't even believe it's a thought.
Yeah. And the other thing was, I was just going to quickly say that I agree with what Chris says about the production, but I always think that the songs are king. If an album can get, not that you should have shitty production, but an album can get by on shitty production and great songs.
Really?
And
what's
the other thing,
what's the best song on Saint Anger?
Well, I mean, okay, no, but I'm not going to use that example because that album was crap.
There's good songs on it. See, I disagree. There are good songs on that album. Some Kind of Monster was a pretty good song. Dirty Window was a pretty good song. There's a couple of good songs that are. My World was a very good song, but you can't listen to them because the production's bad. They're unlistenable.
But you see, and this leads to what the next thing I was going to say, and I got shut down in the chat room for saying this, but I honestly reckon Bob Rock is the greatest rock producer of all time.
Oh, that's because you are cracked there, Tim. Come on.
The greatest rock?
Greatest? No.
Yeah, no. Absolutely.
Well, now back that up with your thoughts, Tim. Be very succinct and very clear. Why is Bob Rock, in your mind, the greatest rock producer ever?
Okay, let me just say something about Saint Anger quickly.
No,
Bob Rock wanted to take that in a different direction. Hang on.
Bob Rock.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Greatest drum sound I've ever heard in my life. His records sound thick, and they sound big, and they just sound monstrous. They're just monstrous. He makes monstrous sounding records, I mean, Keep the Faith was monstrous sounding. The Cult Sonic Temple was monstrous sounding. Dr. Feelgood was monstrous sounding. Dr. Feelgood was the first record I heard that ever sounded like that. It was the biggest drum sound I'd ever heard in my life at the time. He just, everything that guy touched, was a multi-platinum success.
Well, I might counter your Bob Rock with a fairly successful guy named Mutt Lange.
Yeah. But
everything he touched had a monstrous sound too, and sold 15 million records a hit. Shania Twain, Def Leppard, AC/DC, on and on. Mutt Lange was certainly as good or better.
Oh yeah, Mutt Lange. But I guess it also boils down to, I love Mutt Lange. I think there's three geniuses. I think Mutt Lange was a genius. I think Bruce Fairbairn was a genius, and I think Bob Rock was a genius. It's really, for me, it's those three. I guess, really, maybe I like some of the songs a little bit better on some of the stuff that Bob Rock did, but any of those three, I'd give my right arm to be in the same room as those guys.
Well, how about Neil Kernan?
Who's he?
Kernan?
Hmm.
Tom Weirman?
Yeah, he was good. I don't think he's as. Sure he did. Tom Weirman's a very, very successful guy, and did Ted Nugent and great people like that, and the Poison album, and on and on and on. But
how about a friend of the CMS? Tim? How about a friend of the CMS named Bo Hill?
Yeah, he was great too. He was great. All those guys are great. I just don't think they're in the class with those three.
Really?
Insanity.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yep.
Bo Hill had like 15 platinum bands that he worked with.
Of course he did. Absolutely. And I've got most of the albums that the guy produced.
Yeah, Bo Hill was much more of even a go-to guy than Bob Rock. Bo Hill was huge.
I just think it boils down to I think it boils down to the sound.
I think it boils down to your favorite band is Motley
heard.
Crue. I think it boils down to your favorite band is Motley Crue, and he did Dr. Feelgood.
Well,
I think there's a bias there, Tim. Really, I do. I think there's a bias.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, you're
Probably.
right. You're probably right. Yeah.
Where does Scott Humphrey rate in all this, Tim?
What was that?
What's his name? Scott Humphrey? The guy that did Generation Swine?
Generation Swine. Not into it.
I thought that was your favorite album.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it sounds the best.
See, that doesn't even compute to me.
And I God, do we have to go? You guys go with this. Just
no. I'm not even saying this. I don't care that you like the record. It just doesn't compute to me that you could possibly say it's my favorite album of all time by this band, but it doesn't sound good.
I never said that. I never said it was my favorite album of all time. I said the Motley Crue 1994 album is my favorite album of all time.
All right. Well, I'll agree with that statement. Who produced that?
Bob Rock.
Did he? I don't even remember.
Yeah, and that drum sound on that album is even more monstrous than on the Black Album.
But see, the only argument I have with that is that they always had pretty good drum sound. The drum sound on Theater of Pain is fucking giant.
Yeah, well, wasn't it who was it? That was Dwayne Barron that did that. I think he was engineering that record or something.
Yeah, but I mean that had the same big drum sound.
No, it's not the same. No, I mean yes, it's huge. But I think Tommy. I've heard some demo stuff with Tommy Lee. I think just Tommy Lee plays hard.
Yeah.
Like he hits really hard all the time. I don't know. You're probably right. I probably am biased. Yeah. Yep.
Glad we could talk you right off the cliff, Tim.
I'm not off the cliff. It's just to me that guy's the best that ever was.
Way to make a point and veer left and right of it. It's fantastic.
Hail and kill.
You chased him right off the phone. Well, here's a song that I'm going to make a point of.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, and you may know this song. I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Okay.
See if you know who it is, but it sounds more like Metallica than Metallica.
All right, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Do you know who that is?
One of two. It's either Heathen.
Yep, you're dead on.
It's Heathen? Yeah.
Yep.
I was going to say it's either Heathen or Medieval, one of the two.
Yeah. So, little unknown producer by the name of, I can't even pronounce his last name. His name is Juan Ortega. I think that's how you say his name.
Yeah, he's like in a band or something.
Yeah. So there's a guy who can produce a band like Heathen.
Yeah.
And they sound more like Metallica than Metallica.
Yeah.
And it's got the heavy bass sound. It's got the heavy drum sound. It's just got a rich sound to it. And this guy isn't like, a Bob Rock.
No.
And I guarantee you, Heathen didn't spend $100,000 on the record.
Heathen doesn't spend $100,000 on all their records.
That's my point. So here's a guy who can get that sound, but a band who has the wherewithal to get that sound, they can't seem to do it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.